the far-flung reaches of the YouTube galaxy, it's The Outer Rim! Hey everyone! Hope all is doing well with you today. I'm Darren.
I'm Rob. I just got out of that wormhole that, oh my God, I still can't get used to it. Just like it's an actual, here we are. Like, oh my gosh, it's just so weird.
Oh
We've made
yeah.
a million videos between the two of us, and I see this one intro and I still go, oh my God, what am I? I got just the stance. We're serious.
Oh. We're gonna be making fun of ourselves for the longest time here, folks. So please, in the comments, jump in and do the same. Also,
Yeah.
be sure to like and subscribe. I'm gonna remember to do it at the beginning of the video this time.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, bell, notifications, share the video because we need more content creators talking about this stuff, especially, like, I don't want to exclude people on the right, but we need more people talking about progressive stuff on the left and the center lefts. We need more of it because they've got so many more people on the right talking.
Yeah. And especially for a subject like today that we're kind of jumping into.
Yeah.
We've had some kind of big discussions, obviously, our first few episodes, as you can see. And last week we were talking about legacy, the things that we look to leave behind and to go on and to leave for forward generations. And I think we're going to kind of jump in and delve a little bit more in that. And I've talked to Rob about this, and this is something I'm hoping to do as a more of a long-term kind of thing. Like, this is part one of a multi-part series going forward. While we're just going to kind of kick things off between ourselves today, I am hoping for, and talking with Rob, he's of the same mind, is this is really something that we want to be involving more people in. This is an idea that is going to need to pull, I think, from multiple areas and multiple people with different perspectives and different ideas and different, specialties and knowledge sets. Because what I want to kind of get into today is, like, what happens after this moment? I mean, we're in a bit of a I don't know, cult crutch right now. We're in a big cultural moment here, and conflicts with the current administration and all. Let's set that aside for the moment, and let's look at what happens after this. Okay, the Trump administration moves on. There's a new administration. We tear down the ballroom. We get through all the basic stuff that we want to do. But then what? Because
they should make the ballroom an abortion clinic.
Oh yeah, I had people who just like it should be an immigrants
It's the new Ellis Island.
Yeah. You could just it's going to hand out, it's actually going to be where USAID is going to come back and take over that entire wing and just hand out free food.
Didn't mean to derail what you were saying.
Well, no, because I mean, that's what I'm saying is we're kind of in this big thing, and I do want to kind of move in a positive moment, in a positive way, because look, let's face it, in the battle of species dominance, we've won. I mean, we have no natural predators except, for ourselves. We exist in every biome on every continent in the planet. We engineer our own crops. We mine our own planet for resources and fuel. We have near instant communication across the planet in this fabulous World Wide Web. We've climbed every mountain, charted the bottom of the seas. We've gone to the moon so many times, we got bored and stopped doing it. We send tourists to our tallest peak and the lowest orbit. I mean, look, we've done it. Earth is ours. So now what? I mean, look, if we get past the whole scarcity kind of idea, and honestly, I think a lot of our scarcity is imposed upon us. We definitely make more than enough food to feed everybody on the planet. We've got plenty of space, certainly here in the US, to house and have places for people to live. If survival as a species, as individuals, as whatever, is no longer important, what do we want to do with our lives? Because I think at this point, we actually can start to idea of like, look, if we could construct our own future, what would we want it to be? What would our values be? What would our lifestyle be? What would our goals be? What do we want to do with ourselves, with our species? What kind of world do we want tomorrow our kids, our grandkids, our great grandkids to live in if we could design it ourselves? Because ultimately, I don't think that there's a reason why we can't, except that, money, placement, all of those influence, things like that. So that's sort of where my mind has been lately. And I wanted to throw this to Rob. And I don't know, Rob, what do you, Rob, design our world now? No, but I mean, let's just start things off. Like what is important to us? What do we think the basic things that we should have in our world? I mean, for me, it's like we should have equal rights for everybody.
Yeah. Yep.
That seems like a basic thing, but
the thing I've always said, well, not always, but the thing that I've been saying for a long time is when it comes to any group, like us as a whole, as a species, is everybody just wants to be left alone to do what we want without, if we're not like breaking any reasonable law. What I mean by that is like, if you're not hurting somebody else in the process, if you're not preventing somebody else's, like you're not holding somebody else back, everybody has a choice in this, your own personal happiness, still, if it involves other people, you still need a level of the social contract, right? But everybody just wants to be able to do their own thing without anybody getting in the way of that. Like we all just want to be left alone. Well, the biggest problem we've been having, though, is that nobody will leave other people alone. So, everybody deserves to have the same rights as everybody else. I don't understand the difficulty surrounding that idea.
Right. And I think that's, and you're right. And I think that is something that people of all stripes, from the left, from the right, from the center, and whatever your belief system, I think ultimately we can all kind of agree like that, is we want to live our own lives and not have somebody else's ideas imposed upon us, which, at least for the longest time, is kind of what America was all about, or at least the legend of America. And I'll probably actually use that term a lot, the legend of America, because I think that's what most of us really have believed in and embraced, is when we talk about is, send us your poor, your weak, your huddled masses are yearning for freedom, that this is a nation of immigrants, that we're better all together, that we are boosting up. There's a line in history and it's all about, equal rights and respect for others. I think that's what we say America is about. That is the legend of America. I can't always say that, certainly at the moment, that the reality of America is quite the same.
Yeah, it's so weird because I mean, a lot of people, not everybody's ancestors go back to the fucking Pilgrims like they want to act like, right? There's so many people here with mixed families that one parent comes from some other country and the other one was here, or vice versa. A lot of people's families don't go back that far in generations before they were brought here from somewhere. I'm not 100% sure when my family landed. I think settled in Maine first, but I don't think it was like in the 1700s. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was like probably somewhere in the mid 1800s when the first people, I don't even know what their name was, like, like, I don't know which one am I supposed to, but like, some German Dutch people came over here at some point in the 1800s, maybe even in the 1800s, and that's not that really that long ago in the grand scheme of things. When you go like people born here right-wise, like Bill the Butcher and Gangs in New York, the people that are like natives. We're the natives because we were born here. And it's like they've already forgotten that a generation before that you weren't here.
Right.
So we have that to deal with. As far as like being honest about all that, what are like, I guess going into this, there has like, what are the rules? What are our parameters for making this America? Because there's like, is this pie in the sky? Are we talking? Are we needing to be, how realistic do we need to be?
Honestly, I think this is a future brainstorm session. I think there's no bad ideas. There are bad ideas. Okay.
No, yeah,
there are bad ideas, but let's not think of constraining ourselves under any particular, system at the moment. I think this is a good kind of basis of foundation to build on. Is, you got to have respect for everybody. People have to have the freedom to do their own thing, as long as that is not impeding on the freedom for somebody else to do their own thing. And I think that's where we get a lot of problems. Is people are like, well, I want to do this, and it's like, okay, you can be free to be racist. You can. But you can't actually like implement that you're fucking up with other people's lives and things. You can keep your racism to yourselves and just be like, I don't like these people. That's fine. But if you are, implementing, if you own a store and your store isn't going to serve these people because you don't like them, well, that's a problem, especially for a government official or anything like this. And hopefully, ultimately, that means is that things like racism and those types of prejudice would get pushed away, because ultimately it just can't exist within the society. But we've also seen what happens, that those things that you think get pushed away don't. So no, I'd rather do kind of almost a more kind of pie in the sky, because again, I think in that way we make a lot of assumptions, of that. We have a certain baseline of things to do. I mean, we can start with America.
Yeah.
I think that's probably an easy way to start. Kind of like, how would we fix America? Maybe would be a good start here. And then does that start to, we're going to fix it all, folks. No, we're just going to have some ideas.
Yeah, it would be like, because, in my opinion, like that would have to be another video of like, okay, so how do we fix America? Like, how do we fix, like, what do we want for America, or whatever ourselves? Like, and I think another video topic is, where do we really think America's going to go before we get to that?
Sure. Well, I mean, and to be honest, the original idea I had for this was, what is government for? A discussion of what is the purpose of government? What do we expect of it? What's the responsibilities of it? And those kind of ideas, which I still think is a good discussion to have. But for right now, it's really, what is the world that we want to live in? We can try and figure out whatever it's government things to maybe throw out some ideas on that there. But
well, I mean, like you said, the first thing is that everybody's got to start. We got to have equal rights. Like you said, with no more of this. Look, even I have weird, I don't know if it's weird, but lines in the sand when certain people, like, I have no issues with trans people. None at all. Be who you want to be. I know it's this hard concept for I want to say a lot older people. A lot of the older people just can't. I think they're the group that have the hardest time with this, because they are so used to people living in the shadows of keeping things to themselves and quiet, and the shame of it all, right?
Sure.
Because I mean, they lived in this hypocritical time period where all this stuff was still happening. There were trans people for decades. There's been trans people for centuries. They just And this sudden, where are they coming from? They're coming out of the way. It means people aren't afraid to be who they are. They were at least we were in a place where people were be able to feel better about coming out.
Right.
And then this all happened, and then they want to be like, who the hell are you to be, it's all derangement. But trans people, gay people, whatever form that takes, whatever gender you are, whatever race you are, and I stop at belief. We'll get to that. No, I mean it. That's a whole.
Sure.
It's a separate kind of, everybody should be treated equally. I know that it's weird sometimes when you walk into a place of business and you see somebody that looks you see even just a white person, just a regular ass white girl, white guy, and you walk in and you see them with like their earlobes hanging down with a fucking disc inside it. Okay. It's not something you see every day.
Sure.
So it's fine to be like, oh, what do I do here? What do I say? You can be weirded out. But that doesn't mean that you go, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I want to talk to somebody else. I don't, clearly you've made bad choices. Like, we have to let people be. Is weird. Like, I see it. I'm taken aback. I accept it. Right? It's
Sure.
not my life. I can think it's weird too. I can be like, oh, I wouldn't do that to myself. But hey, that's their choice. If they realize later on that, wow, I didn't like that doing it. Why did I do that? That's up to them. So
Right.
Everybody from the start has to. If we want to talk about going back, because it was not that long ago that this was the progress we were hitting. Right? We were really hitting it. We were making these strides.
Right.
And then just because of this administration, all of a sudden the brakes have been hit and we are rolling back some of this shit. The most recent stuff is being rolled back by these people. And that has to stop immediately. We have to immediately go right back, and we need to whatever law we need to make for people for that. We have to make it known that this is not some epidemic happening. These lies that they're just running amok and shooting people, and this is what's the problem is these people who don't know who they are. They are the minority of a minority of a minority. These are people that are just different from you, and all of you crackers out in Crackerland where I am, where it's just farmland, and anytime you see anything different is the story of the week. You have to just get a grip on yourself and realize that they're not coming for you. They don't give a shit about you. You don't need to give a shit about them. And you don't need to get in the way of legislation for them when it has nothing to do with you. It will not affect you. And if you're telling yourself that this is for my kids, what you're really saying is this is how I control future generations of my family without their permission. And that's in its own way a little fashy. Okay, I don't know why I said it's it's a little it's like saying gauche. It's a little gauche to do that, folks.
It's the trendy way of referring to fascists. It's a little fashy.
It's a little fashy, folks.
Well, and I remember a few years ago when there was talking about finishing up the Equal Rights Amendment, and there was pushback of no, we're not going to do this, and I'm like, okay. Just on the pure surface of that, you saying that you don't want equal rights for everyone, to me is a way of saying that you want to be given permission to oppress certain groups, that it's okay for us to ostracize these people because XYZ, they think differently than us, they look differently than us, or whatever, they're a different gender, whatever it might be. And I think it is that kind of idea of realizing that just because someone has the freedom to act it and be a different way than me does not reduce my ability to be the person that I am.
Yeah.
It's not a zero-sum game.
Yeah. The majority of people are still going to be just like you. Okay. They're going to be just like you in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah. It's the big curve. You're that big chunk in the middle. But just these people that are on the outside, it's okay that they're there, man. They're tiny.
So yeah, I mean that would be the first thing is literally stop, because they don't want what you have. It's the brand new. I mean, it's a different version of you took our jobs. It is always thinking that somebody else is going to have it better than you, or you're going to get a leg up on you, or suddenly you're competing for this and you're competing for that. Life is a competition. It always has been.
Right.
And it does not matter who's here. It's always going to be a struggle. And that's one of the things that, again, pie in the sky we could work on, right? Of like making it more possible. So from the equal rights thing, right? If you want more of those things, then we've got to, the next thing to me that needs to be immediately, I would make, is education has to be one of the biggest priorities going forward in this country. No more demonizing colleges like we all of a sudden have because my kids are getting these ideas from these colleges have been this way for decades and decades. Wherever you've been, it has been the place that challenges the status quo and new ways of thinking, because your college isn't the farm. Your college, like, you're getting out into the broader world. Whatever you knew, whatever you know, whatever you learned up until then, college is the next step to learn more, not to just keep still. Otherwise, why go to college at all? If you want to go to college just to learn more about farming, there are colleges for that, and you can keep that up. But if you have a problem with your kids' course studies, stop paying for it. I don't know. Like,
understand that education is building on knowledge. People are like, well, I learned in 4th grade that things were this way. It's like, well, that's great, because that was 4th grade. Now you're in college and you realize that things are much more complicated and there's larger things and there's stuff that doesn't negate, basic knowledge. You just have to realize is that there's more out there. And the more that we have, the more that we can do. You're not making cell phones if you just think that there's only one tiny science book.
Yeah. We've got to make, from kindergarten, preschool, all the way through college, the money, because here's the thing, pie in the sky means we have to figure it out. That means that we've got to stop giving money to bullshit.
Right.
All the money that we keep giving to bullshit. I mean, even today, you look at the list of where money's going. Somebody had a list of things where all of it's going and none of it is for helping anyone here in the here and now. None of that money is for the here and now, for people here that need it.
Right.
Whether it's education or healthcare or what have you. That has to stop immediately. I mean, I don't understand why they're not rioting in the streets when he ran so much on America first. We're going to fix education. But that's not what they're doing. What they're doing is controlling. That's their version of fixing isn't fixing. It's the Heritage Foundation's version of fixing. They're not saying what they really mean by that. So fuck all that bullshit that they're trying to do, because they haven't given any money to actually educate things. All they're doing is doing Nazi shit and stopping education. So we have to immediately take all that money and put it into like a ton of money. We can make shit just up here. Okay. Money is just a concept. So like, if we just agree on certain things, you put money back in schools so that kids have lunches, so that kids learn like on the levels that they need to learn about everything. We need to have like tutors and things like that. And if that means that and I don't even think we have to reach things that become like where people freak out about socialist stuff. If you can give $14 billion or $40 billion to Argentina, you can give $40 billion to schools. in
Sure.
education all over this fucking country. So, and we need to not be afraid when we're teaching kids. We have to stop this immediate, like the thing that people are talking about with the critical race theory stuff. That needs to stop also. I learned about the Civil War. I don't hate, and I don't overly think about how I'm here because all this stuff. I'm here. It happened, and all that is really teaching you is to not make the same mistakes
Yeah.
that the past is. It is not a way to shame you. So all this way that they're trying to make you feel like, no, this is just to ease you into more bullshit. It's to make you forget so that they can rewrite things. So we got to stop the rewriting of history and education. All this has got to be rolled back. It's essentially, I mean, how do we make America actually great again? It's to immediately roll back all the stuff that has just happened. So the last 9 months disappear, or the next 4 years basically are going to have to disappear and get rolled back. And then we put money into education, into teachers' pockets, into, like the colleges. All right. There's a lot of money already in these places.
Well, and I think that's an important thing too, is I don't think just, again, yes, rolling back all this stuff is definitely important, but in no way, shape, or form am I saying, at least, and I don't think Rob is either, that the way it was before was hunky-dory okay.
Yeah, no.
It was not, because you're right. I mean, the thing with education is you're investing in your nation's future. You are educating the populace so that it can do the most, it can get the most, it can maximize the most. Why would you want to restrict that unless by giving some people more and a lot of people less, that is helping position your power?
Yeah.
Because it's the same type of thing with the rights. It's by constricting, you are saying that only these people are right. What we're trying to say is that not only is diversity is okay, diversity should be celebrated, because that opens up the world to new possibilities that you in your world weren't able to see. It's what education does. It gives you so much more information than what you had before, so that you can see the world in a wider picture and be able to make better choices, make more educated choices. What I mean, I think a lot about the old Star Trek: The Next Generation episode where somebody was on the Enterprise and they were looking at Geordi's goggles. And Geordi has now, because he's blind, he's now got these goggles wired in where he can see this massive spectrum of EM radiation, so much more than what human eyes could see. But in this culture that he was visiting, he would have been killed as an infant because he was not perfect. He was physically deficient. And it's just one of those ways of seeing even a blind person can be one of the greatest engineers in Starfleet. I mean, yes, that's all fiction, but it's still addressing the idea of what you may think cannot contribute may be the biggest contributor. Because somebody has autism, you may think, oh, they can't live a regular life, but they can see a world that opens up possibilities and now can give you things that you never even thought of. Math geniuses, music geniuses, all going with that condition that can open up the world into so many things. And I think having a world where those differences are more celebrated, where knowledge is more appreciated, is the kind of world.
Yeah, and let's not act like it's just been recently that somebody's taken a master's or learning something weird in college where somebody's like, I have a bachelor's in some ancient language that doesn't exist anymore. How many boomers and beyond that, older and Gen X, have gone to college and taken some class that they'll never use, that is so weird, and they'll be the first ones to tell you, I took 4 years of some stupid thing that I have no earthly real use for. I have the knowledge, but so don't act like this is a new thing. Don't act like you weren't a part of that thing. Don't act like you weren't enjoying yourself in college, especially them. You were partying like it was 1975. Okay? Animal House exists. What was happening there? Pantyhose. There, you guys were acting nuts. Are you telling me that your college experience, that's what it should just be? Is like Animal House? Like, so it's always education, and colleges have been attacked for also decades. College students have been attacked for decades. This isn't new. This is the first time that these people, these dying people are just, it's like they have selective memory. They have selective memory. They had all these things, and now they want to take it away from everybody else because now they're near the end, and it's like, oh shit, what do? We gotta like make our world the way we want it. Like, what are you talking about? So, education.
Well, and yeah, in that sense, you got to pay attention to what the reality is. They're the same ones who are also like, yeah, I used to be able to take a summer job and earn my education for the whole year.
To bring it to even like more realistic and stuff is look at just the stats on where we are education wise compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to be like, and stop blaming or whatever, we should be embarrassed. We should be embarrassed by this. And there's something to be said. Like, I forgot most of the Spanish I learned in high school. I learned more working with Spanish people. I learned so much more, but it's still, like all this stuff is still necessary. It is. I look at like how my high school was, and like I look at education, and I thought my education was fine. It turns out it probably wasn't as good as it should be. Even then, in the late 80s, early 90s, when I went to high school. And now when you look at how many people still can't read, like, wow, it is like all these things that we have and people still can't read. And I forget about all these places in this country, red states, not just red states. I don't mean to always pick on them, but when you look at their education when they give the statistics out for all these places and where's like all this illiteracy coming from, these are the places they need. Like when I say put money in education, I mean everywhere.
Yeah.
Not just blue. Like I want all of those people to have the right education. I want to see kids going into nice, secure schools and learning just their ABCs, man, and 1, 2, 3s and onwards, and learning about history, which yes includes the things that are inherently bad about what we've done to get here.
Well, and not learning to the test, because I think that removes any goal or actual love that can happen with education. Is right now they put in so many requirements and so many things that that's all what the school does. There's not enough money to it. There's not enough time to it. You have boomers that are talking about, hey, I used to have auto class and wood shop. It just doesn't exist anymore. I don't know when the last wood shop died, but I'm sure it was before the turn of the century here at this point. Unless you're in a small private school that has all of these extra things, you need to learn history. You need to learn civics. You need to learn
math,
finances. The idea, man, teach you to balance your own checkbook. Education should teach us how to live our lives, how to prep us into the world, not just check off some boxes, which I think is mostly done as a way to control the population and what it can learn.
I see personally where I work,
right
there, a bus comes like once a week with some students with learning problems, with obvious problems.
Sure.
And they're helping them like learn how to buy things, learn that this costs money and you have this amount of money and this is like a list to shop, because these kids are so developmentally in other ways challenged. Some are just behaviorally challenged.
Sure.
And even though I see this and I'm like, well, that's good. But at the same time, I'm like, this should be something so much more. These are the kids that they don't expect to make it.
Right.
I have a relative that was in this class. And, He has a good job now. He's 22. And some of these things that he learned I are great, but there could have been so much more for these kids that have problems. And it's just
Sure.
not enough. Like when I see this, it breaks my heart to know that it almost feels like, because I've also known people that were pushed through school that just get them out, like just because the world needs ditch diggers.
Right.
We need, and that was years ago.
Sure.
So this like lackadaisical way of like being, like educationally, like we're gonna keep talking about it and talking about it, because that's, I think, when we talk about how do we make this America the way we want it to be, it has to be about these things that we have constantly yammered about and have made almost zero progress and rolled back on. So there's education,
Well,
and then
the
what?
rights. Well, no, because I think we're hitting on kind of an idea that actually feeds into what my next point would be is I think that we need to put a value back into the individual, that they deserve to know things. They deserve to have the road as open and possible, and as many possibilities in front of them as possible. Because
Yeah.
one thing I also think that we should, and the fact that we don't, as the richest nation in the history of history, is we should have freaking universal health care.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I mean, that's a no. Yeah, that's.
I know it's a no-brainer. The fact that we don't, that people have to worry about, are they going to be able to afford their meds? Are they going to go home? Can they pay their bills? Especially right now, we've got the government shut down because we're trying to get health insurance subsidies approved for insurance companies that are going to be making that money, whether the government pays them or the people pay them. Why are we even doing this system? There's got to be a better way.
So yeah, and it's always, and this is again for people that are on the right and the left, wherever you land politically, this should have been a slam dunk decades ago.
Yeah.
This is bullshit. This is one of the most ultimate bullshit things. It's not the right time. We can't. You are crooked as hell. That's the thing. The whole bit of this, it's all just so fucking crooked. You keep telling us no. It's time for this no to be an immediate yes.
Yeah.
The rest of the country, the rest of the world, so many societies, not everywhere, but the ones that we should be embarrassed about, the ones that don't do as well as us financially, the ones that aren't as big as us, have this. So you're telling me that the richest country in the history of history can't do this because it's just not the right time?
We just Latvia has universal health care.
Oh, well, this is social. Fuck socialist. It is what it is. It works. It does not make you a socialist to take a social thing and make it part of it. Because if there's one thing America's good at, it's taking what other people have done and sucking it up for themselves and acting like we came up with the fucking idea ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. We did it.
Yeah.
And as soon as it's done, all the people can be like taking credit, acting like it was their idea all along. So just do it. It is not that hard. It just means that you're going to have to piss off people that give you money. Guess what? You're not going to take their money anymore. That part plays into all of this. I'm not drifting away from universal health care, but the money train stops.
Well, yeah, no, you got to change the whole tax system that's going on. The fact of the 50 years of Reaganomics of giving money to the rich and it'll filter down, it'll trickle down to everybody else. Is a failure.
All the people that say that this will hurt them by doing this. Tough shit. You've got your money. We're not talking about hurting people that don't have anything. This is ending the cash flow. You've got your money. You got more money than fucking God. So that's it. You're capped. I don't care if it's capitalism. in order to do this, you're capped. You're done. We have to make certain things, which again would mean changing all kinds of policies. But it doesn't matter. This is for the greater good. It means that all of these people that are killing themselves to just go to a regular basic doctor visit, to take an ambulance ride, isn't a fucking bank, like bank account closing, doomsday. It's nuts. And it's that simple. Anybody that tries to argue with you and suddenly see, this is where their college education comes in handy, because then they start telling you all the different things that they learned that you are too stupid to know. Why? Because you didn't go to college. Why? Because it is too expensive. Why? Because of what we did. So I know it. I can argue all over the place and tell you all these things that you spin your head in circles so that you suddenly just back off. It's okay for them to be educated about this stuff so that they can lie to you, but it's not okay for you to demand something that should be a right for everyone in this country. One of the biggest issues, if not probably the biggest issue, is healthcare. It shouldn't be. There's so many. It's hard to pick which one is the most important. But as far as like things that should have been done a million years ago, this is one of them. They could have done this in the fucking 40s, man. When after World War II, they could have just been like, all these soldiers coming back from war that need all kinds of things for amputees and other things, people that are going to chronically have problems with shrapnel and all this other crap. This could have been done forever. So you want to go backwards? Yeah, let's go back in time and tell those assholes to give us universal health care.
Well, or even though, I mean, hey, you don't have to go that far. You go back to just Nixon when they created the whole healthcare basic system and had the choice of, which way are we going to go? Well, the money's this way. We can make more money if we put somebody in between the doctor and the patient. And we'll take everybody's money and then decide whether or not they want to dish out healthcare. It's just no, because that is, I mean, I think we're hitting even kind of the big three on what is what really keeps people from achieving their potential. Because look, crimes are committed because people don't have money. People are homeless because they don't have homes. Why? Because rent is too expensive. And I think that is definitely something that needs to be tackled on if we're going to move forward in this country in any way, is we have to do something about the housing. And yeah, it's going to mean there's going to be some tall appointment buildings. And it also means that we got to build more stuff out, because I think people deserve also to have potential to live in a home, in a place by themselves, and not just have to be, well, I'm poor, so I've got to live in an apartment building.
Yeah. And we also, we can acknowledge, right? Universal healthcare, it's still not perfect.
No.
There's still plenty of problems with it. But it just means, because, I've heard stories, things can still go bad. Things can, depending on like how fast something happens to you, or, like what you're, like, say you could die from it. Like, there's still all those things.
Look, we talk about like Canada has great healthcare, and yeah, it does. But I also have a client who is a doctor that moved from Canada to here because he found the medical system to be unworkable. So yeah, the system is not perfect here. And even if we had universal healthcare, you know what happened? And businesses would offer their own like extra healthcare access service thing, so that the wealthiest and well off or businesses could, throw out these extra things that people could get. Oh, you could see a doctor faster. Oh, you could do this. You could do that. We'll give you a van ride to the office, or whatever the hell that it's going to end up being. But that does mean that people aren't going to suffer or worry like, oh my God, I'm going to die because I have to choose whether to get my medicine or get food.
Yeah. Like, if we, like, just the basics is going to be so much better when you, like, people make so much content where they go to other countries and they just show what happens when you go somewhere and you need something.
Oh yeah.
The ambulance ride cost me nothing. This going to get my pills cost me nothing. The actual, like, all these things are paid for by taxes. And you know what, folks? If that's where your tax dollars are going, rather
Right.
than into some other person's pocket. Isn't that what we pay taxes for? Why are we making it sound like our tax money going so that I can have better health care? It just means we have to, again, the tax dollars that we get, that we give, need to stop going to places that they shouldn't be going.
They
And
need
then
to
you go,
be.
well, who decides that? And it's like anywhere outside of this country, first off.
We need to start again feeding into the people. Yes, you will feel better if you pay higher amount of taxes, but you see your roads are taken care of. There's trash picking up out there. Your health care is taken care of. You know, you would be getting something back for those tax dollars. But right now, our tax dollars are going to military contractors. You know, most of our budget goes all towards the military. So it's either paying military people or it's, Raytheon or Boeing or any of those people, McDonnell Douglas, that are making the weapons. There's a huge amount of it. Or we're giving tax breaks for rich people to encourage them to invest their already gross amounts of money into a project. I mean, ultimately, I think our philosophy and what we value needs to change, that it can't just be the almighty dollar, it has to be the God to where we all worship. But
Yes.
in the basics of just to free up people's capacity to exist and actually have the freedom to possibly expand and build on their lives, we got to have equal rights. We got to have actual education, and that education should be free. Healthcare should be part. Being an American should have, if we're talking about that it's this great thing, then that should mean that you get free education, you get free healthcare, you may possibly subsidized housing, and certainly building more, because if we're going to expect this huge population to work, they've got to have the place to live. And if they're spending all their money on food, housing, and medicine and medical care, how else are they going to feed the economy?
Yeah, essentially what we're coming up with a list is how all the evil billionaires have to, it's basically ending all that. Like, because we have to have the next thing that I would say is we have to, like, what would I want for America? What would I want for this country? It's to change the laws that protect capital, like how much money a company can make before it has to start like giving back to its, like, and I don't know how, because I didn't go to business class. So this is going to be pie in the sky where I'm going to sound like an idiot because of what I want, right? Because people will go, well, okay, then you have to do this. Okay, well, all the things I'm going to say that somebody else can say, well, you need to do this, and this would have to happen. Yes, then do that. Okay. However it happens, because people need to have a living wage. We have to have, where if you're going to keep raising, like, inflation is not controlled by Joe Biden. It wasn't controlled by Joe Biden.
No.
With this price gouging from companies that are getting away with it. Okay. And it's just enjoyed by the people in charge. They don't have a say in this. Why? Because the law's in place. Let corporations just keep making as much as they want without having to give back, because that's capitalism, not socialism. It doesn't have to be socialism if we just change the laws.
Well, and the base idea of capitalism, well, just saying that capitalism is about charging as much as you possibly can get away with for a particular item, is ultimately an Ouroboros. You're ultimately eating your own tail.
So when they raise the minimum wage, it doesn't mean that it shouldn't immediately mean, oh, we've raised the minimum wage, so now we're going to raise the prices on everything. No. Fuck you, you fucking ghouls. Okay? It just immediately, that's what happened. I experienced it when here in Illinois, when they started raising, when I all of a sudden I got a big jump because everything went to $15 an hour from something else. And then I got my own little boost. But then as soon as it happened, prices just shot through the roof.
Yeah.
Because, oh, well, if you're making more, then we're just going to match the price that it was at and then just level that up. No more of that. I don't care how we do it. I don't care how we do it. And I don't care what companies get hurt. And if you don't like it and you threaten to just shut down, shut the fuck down. Shut down. Stop making your shit. Shut your whole fucking company down, because you know what happens when you shut down? Some mom and pop does better. We start to build it. We just start again. We don't need you. We already know. We have so many people that know how to do things. We don't need you. You just have a stranglehold on everything. So go ahead. Shut the fuck down. Other people will take your place, and we will make sure that those people do what we want. Because again, a lot of this means a whole collapse of the system.
Well, I think in a lot of ways,
or how they know it to be.
We've got to take the investor class and pull them down off of the pedestal that they've been put upon.
Yeah, because they're not going to do this on their own.
Because it's always, Wall Street's all about the investor class, and they're the one boosting up stocks. And we've got to pay them off, and they've got to be sure that they get their profit margins. And therefore, that gives obligations to what the company has to make. And so they can pay off the investors that go in. They're the ones that have 100% focus and 100%, profit off of the company. The rest of everybody else is just picking up the pieces of what's left over. But when a company goes down, the workers are all screwed, but the investors, they're the ones that are first in line to get paid off. Not the people that the company owes money to. The investors. We charge 22% for investment income, where it's up to 38% for earned income. Then you're already saying that money is worth more than what your value is. And look, that may mean we need to up taxes, because you know what happens when taxes are a higher rate? Companies invest in their own company more, because it costs them too much to try and extract that profit value. If their tax rate is low, then it costs them very little money to extract that money out. If the tax rate is high, then suddenly they're like, well, I'm going to pay all of this profit into the government, so I might as well use a chunk of that money and increase pay for my workers, and maybe improve the facilities around, make my company more efficient, because I can deduct that investment into my company, but I can't deduct the profits if the tax rate is higher.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about the booming age in the 50s and 60s and 70s. Top tax rate was up to 95% at areas of that time. 86%. That didn't have a big change until Reagan. And the idea was we drop the corporate tax rate, but we keep the personal tax rate high to balance that out. And then, of course, immediately afterwards is, well, we need to reduce that personal tax rate because, we're costing people so much money. And now everything's more expensive.
And I have a couple more things, at least off the top of my head.
Sure.
Speaking of Reagan, because he's the one who closed down all the mental health facilities.
All right.
We need to take care of people that need it in that fashion. We need better, not just, again, this goes to a different kind of education, but the education on mental health, how to deal with it, having programs that also would fall in line with universal health care to help the mentally ill, because mental illness in America that's one of the really things that nobody wants to talk about, that runs rampant.
Oh, yeah.
That is running rampant. And notice we haven't even talked about guns, because mental health and guns.
Yeah. It's a great thing. Let's not treat the helmets, but make it easier for everyone to get guns.
Okay, but we don't even know, like, people still are afraid to talk about mental illness, because mental illness means so many things. We always just you're crazy. That motherfucker's crazy. Look at him. He's crazy. He's talking to himself. You know how many people talk to themselves? If everybody was crazy for just talking to themselves, we would all be.
I'd be locked up.
We would all be considered fucking bananas.
Yeah.
Okay. Anxiety, which I'm gonna dollars to donuts guess that over the majority of the population has at this point is a form of mental illness. Okay. So if we have to talk about the small stuff, we have to be able to talk about the big stuff. We're not even talking about people like we should, well, we are, but like, I think people still think mental illness means mental, like, and I'm going to use the word retardation. Like,
Well, yeah,
that,
I
like,
mean,
I think people still think that there are people like, again, ignorant areas of this country, ignorant people in general, still think that mental ill means that somebody's out there with a gun just going, no. These are troubled people that have had terrible things happen to them. It's not always genetic. It isn't always something like Down syndrome or whatever. It is people that have experienced trauma.
right.
It is, and we don't understand it. And again, these people end up like, again, a lot of these things all are steps in other things, lack of education, like not being able to pay your medical bills, ending up homeless, having mental illness, having a gun. Oh my God, I just shot up a bunch of people. All these things tied together. And so the mental illness stuff, we have to stop. Again, everywhere you go, it's still, I don't know how we talk about this. It's difficult to talk about. Why? We all talk about it in some form every day. If I don't, everybody's talking about my anxiety, my anxiety, my anxiety. We are all talking about it. We just need to talk about it in bigger terms and realize, holy shit, we're all crazy at this point. So again,
well,
how do
and
we
also
fix
the
that?
idea that being mentally ill does not mean that you cannot contribute to society, that you
Yes.
cannot be a functioning member. Because, yeah, there are some people that they have serious mental issues and need to be taken care of.
Yes.
That can still live a life of potential joy in their own existence, but they need to be taken care of. But there are so many others that just need some potential treatment, some support,
Yes.
you know, because I think we think that it's like an all or nothing with mentally ill is, well, we need to lock them away from society because they're dangerous and causing problems, or, an AI chatbot can give them all the help that they need. It's like, no, it's not. It's in the middle that people just like good basic medical care is the same thing for mental care. Some people are in serious conditions and they can't live outside of an institution, be it physical or mental issues. Other people, man, they're just going through times and they need some help and then they will recover. And others, they can do most of their stuff, but they're going to need their meds and little check-ins on a regular basis.
Yeah. And again, it doesn't fix everything. There's always going to be somebody who that goes out their meds. It's just the world, man. And then something happens, but it would mean that we're better suited to solve it. We're still better suited to minimize all of this stuff.
Yeah.
To make it less, likely to happen.
Well, do you have any other big points to hit on, or does this look like
Oh, you don't have any more? You don't have any?
No. I mean, yes, we could talk about this for quite some time. We're hitting kind of the hour mark, and I want to kind of keep this in a contained point, but I'm kind of excited because I wasn't sure where this conversation entirely was going to go as we were starting out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the things that we need, if we're going to, try to fix America, try to make our world a better place, is we do need to change the focus to taking care of and valuing the individual, the person, that each of the citizens, and not in these mass gross characteristics. We're not statistics on top of somebody's balance sheet.
Yeah.
That educating an individual, making sure that they get health care, making sure that they have can afford a place to stay, that they're not being oppressed for being just who they are, allows them to then blossom and make an actual contribution, a bigger contribution, maybe something that we don't even expect to our society. Because too much of what we've been doing is exactly the opposite. We don't value the individual at all. Oh, this person needs help because they're a criminal and they're lazy and they're not going to want to contribute to anything. Oh, all these young men that are sitting there playing video games and not out working, we're going to take away their potential health care. Excuse me, most of these people can't get jobs. They are trying, but there's no actual work out there, or the work that is available to them is extremely minimal and inconsistent. Let's value that each individual can actually contribute something into our society, as opposed to judging them because we're expecting them to take advantage of us. I think the people that take advantage of us most are the ones that already have all of the money.
And the people that are complaining they're just mad that they're like, what? Well, I want to be able to, like, in their heart of hearts, they're basically saying, well, I want to be the one taking advantage of the system.
Well, that's it. We don't want, and I think that's why so many people are against equal rights, is they're not looking to be equal. They want to be the next oppressor.
Yeah, they want to make sure
be
that
on
they
top
get
so we
theirs
can make the
before anybody
choices.
else does. Yeah, look at I mean, look at any Black Friday from the 80s and 90s, and
Oh, jeez.
just over a TV or a Cabbage Patch doll.
Don't
nobody
kill each other over electronic goods, folks. No
One of the first things
trampling.
we're taught by our families, right, is sharing. And yet we grow up and we're running over each other for stupid ass sales. The other thing I had,
Yeah.
which was, I mean, if you look at our background, right, it's the earth itself. And the thing about making America would be like actually acknowledging and doing something about the global warming and
Oh, yeah.
the fact that we need to start going, like, really, like, again, we've made some, we've got electric cars and we've got wind turbines. It needs to, for me, it's like, you can make America great, actually great, but if we don't take care of the planet, it won't matter because we won't be able to live here. We'll be having to figure out how to live underground or in the ocean, man. And right now, all that shit's just in comic books and sci-fi novels. Okay. Like, we're not ready for that. But if we don't start taking care of our planet and roll back, because a lot of people are already saying that it's too late in some respects.
Yeah. In many ways,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but that means, so let's not like actively make it worse.
Yep.
If humans cause climate change, then we should do whatever we can to stop that because we live here and that's how we're going to survive. If you think that it's some cyclic thing that the earth goes through, great. Well, then it's changing and we should probably make adjustments to not make it any worse.
Yeah.
Either way, look, free electricity from the sun and wind is a heck of a lot better than burning, ancient tree bones.
Yeah. And even if certain things are going to happen no matter what, say another ice age or something, I always, for the people that need, pictures in their books, right? In this case, just look at movies. Look what happens when you're not prepared. It's the ant and the grasshopper. If you need a fable,
Ooh.
right?
Yeah.
Of not being prepared. And then it happens and you're like, oh, fuck. I don't have anything ready. I'm not ready for this. We just knew it was going to happen because we said that global warming wasn't real, but the things that happen are just going to happen again. So, like, you still have to be prepared, right? It's not like an asteroid that's going to come out of nowhere. And it's like, well, unless we all figure out how to move the goddamn planet and not screw up our entire rotation and all that stuff, that stuff that's just, look, shit happens. All we can do is like that shit that we'd have to go, okay, time to get out of here.
Yeah.
But we're here and we're dealing with real present problems, which means we've got to stop and really, and also not make, again, if we've got to roll back and we've got to have better cars and not be like, people want to scream about, well, oil company, what about all those oil workers? Fuck you. Sorry. I know that sounds cold, but learn to fucking type or something. I don't know. Because the greater good doesn't mean that we have to go, well, we can't do this because those oil workers will be out of work. If we have a better system, we can give them jobs.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing
and they
too.
Can work in the new system that is clean, that helps make the, all these facilities and then train these people to work there.
Well, and in that sense, yeah, that's why you have to have a certain social safety net so that you can make
Exactly.
these larger changes to the country and not make people suffer because we all have to, like, as a group, make some big changes.
Yeah. And you can't keep saying we just don't know, like we can't do that. It's going to disrupt things. We have all the knowledge in the world. Like we said at the beginning of this thing, we are the top. We know how to do everything. There's nothing, honestly, that we can't do, except for maybe time travel. And we can't even handle the fucking internet. So
Yeah,
there's no reason.
it's so bad.
No time travel. Because this is what would happen if we had time travel. Everything would just stop in the middle of like one of the sentence, like just like black, and existence would end. And nothing that we said had mattered at all because some asshole went back and did something that undid everything.
Yeah.
Okay. But outside of that,
the true dangers of time travel. Yes.
like, if we just, like, anybody that's telling us that we can't, it's a load of crap. Look at where we've come. Look at how far we've come. And you're telling me this is it? We have to suddenly stop because the people above us tell us that we can't no more. We used to tell people to fuck right off when they would tell us that we can't do something. We are the country that says, don't tell me what we can and can't do.
Yeah. American innovation.
So why are we suddenly saying, oh, okay, Dad? You know what I'm saying? The government is not our parents. We're the parents. Okay, and they're the fucking kids. And for some reason, we are letting the kids run the goddamn country. Like they don't have, like, I'm getting off on some weird analogy.
No, but the understanding is that you can make a slight disruption in business and money in an area in order for the rest of the country to actually move in a better direction.
Yeah, because the only disturbance you're having is to their profits. That's it. It's not to Joe Q public. They want you to believe that. It just means that their money is halted. Again, just look at Jimmy Kimmel and what that did to Disney for a week. Okay? It's only about profit. It ain't about hurting you. Nobody that canceled Hulu got hurt. Nobody did that. They got hurt. Their profits got hurt. Their investors got hurt. And again, we're talking about people that have so much money. They are not hurt. They just get less all of a sudden. They just don't get a higher, when they check their portfolio, they go, wow, I've plateaued. What the hell happened?
Yeah.
Tough shit.
We're at a point where the top 10% of wealthy people in the United States, income workers, account for 50% of consumer spending. The lower 50%, only 20% of consumer spending. The movement is happening right now is that ultimately what our economic position is going to be, the grand majority of us, is a rounding error to the larger economy.
Yep.
And then you're just going to get tossed aside. So the only way to do this, look, they're investing $400 billion a year into AI, just one company. You know what that money could do for everyone else? I'm not saying that you can't innovate.
Yeah.
Of course you can. But you shouldn't do it at the price of everybody else in the country suffering. And until we make those changes, the fact that so we don't live with a daily fear that we're going to be bankrupt or homeless or jobless or whatever. That's a future that I would like.
Yeah. And you got to ask the question, why are they really doing this? Why this instead of this? It's never, the answer is no matter what they say, the answer is it's not to help you.
Yeah.
So
we got a couple of thousand billionaires on the planet, and not one of them is Bruce Wayne. So,
well, yeah. I would be Bruce Wayne, everybody.
Totally.
Make me a billionaire. Except I wouldn't have no cave or none of that stuff. I'd just be I didn't say I was Batman. I'd be Bruce Wayne. I'd be giving shit away.
There you go.
I'd be using my brains to make better things for the world.
All right. Well, I think that will wrap up this conversation for today. As I said, this is something that we will probably be revisiting. We definitely want to bring in some guests, make larger questions. So if you guys have any ideas on, I don't know, how to fix America, what kind of world do you want to live in? How do we move to the future that you want to live in? Throw those down in the comment section below. Otherwise, like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you don't miss any of these episodes. We're going to try and have them drop every Monday. So this will be a weekly thing for you. But I think that's going to wrap it up. So I'm Darren.
I'm Rob.
And thank you for joining The Outer Rim. We'll catch you all next week. All right. Bye-bye.